Hey, I'm Dan Harris, and here's what I'm fixated on this week. A little something called pessimism porn. That is a term coined by the good folks over at New York Magazine, and it refers to the fact that there are a lot of people who've become addicted to reading apocalyptic news about the economy online. People are logging on to read all sorts of dire predictions about a new Great Depression, breadlines, riots, you name it. So right now I'm going to introduce you to two of the leading purveyors of pessimism porn.
It's jive talk.
That is Gerald Celente. He is a trend forecaster who is credited with predicting everything from the fall of the Soviet Union to the war in Iraq to the crash of 1987 to the dot-com bust and, very early on, the housing collapse.
America's heading for an economic 9/11. This isn't about dark clouds. This is about reality.
And then there's Peter Schiff, star of a viral video called Peter Schiff Was Right, which shows him being laughed at on cable shows back in 2006 when he said the collapse was coming.
Most of the profits that people have in real estate are going to vanish, just like the profits in the dot-coms in 1999-2000. It's a fantasy.
I recently interviewed both of these guys, and what they had to say was not pretty. What does utter ruin and disaster look like?
I don't know. I mean, it looks, if history is any guide, it's pretty bad. I mean, you do get the civil unrest. You do get the riots and the looting.
So when you say worse than we've ever seen before, you mean breadlines?
Breadlines, protests, tax revolts,
Civil unrest,
crime going to levels we haven't seen before, homeless. I mean, the homeless numbers are coming out already.
The day I met Peter Schiff, he was on his way to buy a German Shepherd, which he said he was going to use possibly as a guard dog for his property. Gerald Celente is trained in close combat. So you're thinking you might have to fight it out at some point?
You don't know what's going to happen with people losing their minds the way they are. People go over the edge. As a Bronx boy, my saying is when people lose everything and they have nothing left to lose, they lose it.
It's better to know the truth and to prepare for it. You know, it's better, to other than just living in a delusion, right? If you're forewarned, you're better off.
I say this with respect. You seem like a nice guy, but you're kind of a bummer to talk to.
If you go to your doctor, you can love your doctor. All of a sudden, you go in one day and say, Dan, listen, I have some bad news for you. He tells you a diagnosis you might not want to hear. It still doesn't make you a doctor a depressing guy to talk to. We just put the facts out. It doesn't give us any pleasure in this, believe me. And it's just like a doctor wouldn't give him any pleasure in giving you a bad diagnosis.
Now, I should be clear that most mainstream economists don't agree with Celente and Schiff at all. Their predictions are not nearly as dire. So why would anybody put themselves through this? Why would anybody read pessimism porn with any regularity? Well, porn addicts that I've spoken to say that it helps you feel smarter than most of the other average Joes because it gives you a sense that you know what's coming when most other people don't. Anyway, we're going to hear more from addicts and the people who love them coming up this weekend on GMA. For now, I'm Dan Harris. I'll see you.